So page 14 in your notebook, that's that pink sheet that I gave you. That is the cover page. We are now in Unit 2. It lets you know what standards I have to teach you, and then it shows you what vocab words that we're going to use and their definitions. It's not that I just wake up one day and think, oh, I want to teach points, lines, and planes today. That's not how it works. It's the state gives us a list of what we need to teach, and then we try to organize it that is best suitable for you. All right, so we're starting Unit 2. This is where we're actually starting the geometry content. Last unit was more of wrapping up Algebra 1, learning how to multiply polynomials. Now we're in the actual geometry part. Is this 15? What did we say? I already forgot. It's 15. All right, so put page 15 on this. Make sure your name's on it. Stay with me. Whatever I write, you write. We're going to learn some vocab words. And you'll notice that we have them right here. Point, line, plane, line segment, and ray. And then there's a gap of space. A point. You can see an example over here under the image column. A line, a plane, a segment, and a ray. This is saying up here, can you think of something in the everyday world that is an example of a point? So this is just like a free-for-all. A what? A marble is, okay, a point. What about in terms of a map? What? Like if you're trying to set your GPS to a certain destination, it's going to put a pin, drop a point. Or if you're trying to get home, it's going to take you to that point on the map. So this is where you can just either draw a picture or you can write an example. So like a town on a map, or like a marble in terms of what it actually looks like. What about a line? An example of a line, everyday life. So if you look at the example right here in the image column, a line continues on, right? So, what can we think of? Do what?
Two yellow lines in the middle of the road.
The yellow lines in the middle of the road? And we're thinking of like just some giant road, right, that has no end? Okay, so you've got the lines in the middle of a road. We're going to say on a never-ending road. Huh? I don't know. I know that there is like a trail in terms of that's the longest. Well, there's cross country, and then there's like from Florida all the way up to the northeastern corner, or there's from Florida all the way over to. We're assuming they don't end though. What about plane? Oh, let's see. Not the noun airplane, though. Really surprised no one else. What? What about it? Be more specific. Y'all are football fans. What determines the touchdown? What's between the end zone and the field? The plane. The plane. The goal line is on the field. That's to let you have a visual. There it is. Don't y'all remember listening to like highlights or review? They're reviewing the touchdown to see if the ball breaks to plane before dude's knee gets down. It's a book you really need to read. I'll tell you about it one day. It's something between the lines. So you've got the plane between, I'm abbreviating between, the field and end zone. Plane is one of the hardest vocab words for people to understand because you don't necessarily see it, right? It's like the wind. You can't see the plane. You have to visualize, and this is where those sci-fi movies like The Matrix and stuff comes in handy. Think of a giant laser that is coding the space. My rug is my example. Think of my rug as a miniature football field, and then on the, like over here is the end zone, right? So think of a laser that is covering the space between the field and the end zone, right? That's a plane. It's a paper thin space that carries on in all directions. You with me? Right? The field itself is also a plane, but the one in terms of the actual game itself, I was hoping for y'all to say was that space between the end zone and the field. All right, line segment. Look at line segment. What's the difference? Notice the arrows on a line on each end, and then a segment. There's a start and there's a stop. So what's an example in everyday life of a line segment? What? Okay, so the trail from the bottom of the hill to the top. Yep, that's a segment. Hallway, perfect example. Yep, you got this end to that end.
The out of bounds marks.
What?
Like out of bounds on each side. Across the field. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like the inside.
It starts from one side and goes to the other. Yes. So that's a lot of really good examples. That was 3 examples. Write whichever one you liked. So you had like a hiking trail, starts in one spot, goes up a destination, ends in another spot. You've got the lines on the football field, the segments. When I say football lines, it's kind of confusing. I'm going to put lines in quotes. Here's where it's technical. The word line means keeps going, right? And then the word segment means start, stop. So you have to start telling yourself, if I use the word line, she's going to think going in both directions, and that may not actually be the right word. So start to understand the difference between segment and line. All right, what about ray? What's a ray that you may or may not see in everyday life? Perfect example. I was hoping someone would say that. You've got the sunlight, right? Or rays. So the sunlight, the sun rays start from the sun and then permeate through the atmosphere, right? Okay, so that's a ray. It starts somewhere but then carries on, okay? Now let's get into the actual definitions, now that we've talked about real-world examples. So, you're welcome. I'm not expecting you to write every single one of these down. I have given you the ones where you just have to fill in the blanks. What is a point? It is a location that has no size. A lot of people think a point has some type of depth to it, and it doesn't. It's literally me just saying, hey, direct your attention right here. How do you name a point? You use a capital letter to name a point. So, for example, which the picture is already drawn, this would be called point A. Okay, a line is a set of, remember what we talked about, infinite points on a straight path. On a straight path that extends forever. Y'all ever seen The Sandlot? It's a delayed reaction. Please tell me y'all seen The Sandlot.
Yeah.
You know when he's like so we have a set of infinite points on a straight path that extends forever in two opposite directions and has no thickness to it. There's no weight to the line. It's just saying, hey, from we're going in this direction and this direction forever. If you've not seen The Sandlot, I encourage you to see it. It's classic. Okay, how do you name it? Use any two points and you do put a notation above it. So, for example, here is a line and it has a point B on it and a point C. So if I wanted to talk about this, I could call it line BC, and I would draw above it a little line. Or I could call it line CB, and above it I would draw the little line. Notice I switched the order. That's okay. There's a third way to name a line. Doesn't come up a lot, but there is an example on here. The third way, so I'm going to put a dot there because the main way that we name lines is we just name 2 points on the line. The alternative way to name it is a script letter by it. Here's what I mean. A script letter, meaning like it's almost cursive. A script letter that's by it. Look over here. You see this? That's an L. Looks like an E. That's a cursive L. Well, cursive L shouldn't be that bad. So you could call this line L. So that's another way to name it. And in that case, the name is just hovering out beside it. It's not actually talking about any points on it. When you're naming lines, order does not matter with the letters. So we could say BC or CB, we still mean the same thing. Okay, the next one, plane. A set of infinite points and a line on a flat surface that extends forever, and has no thickness. How do you name a plane? You name it by any 3 non-collinear points. I'll explain what collinear means. Any 3 non-collinear points. The word collinear, use the word to help you understand the definition. Think of coexist and the word line. Collinear means points that fall in the same line. Okay, so if it's non-collinear, it means they're all over the place. They don't line up, right? So if you look at this, you got D, E, and F. They clearly don't line up. I cannot draw one smooth line through them to hit all 3. So they're called non-collinear. So you would name this plane DEF or EFD or FED or EDF, doesn't matter. Okay, so what we just covered is what's called the 3 undefined terms of geometry. The reason they're called the 3 undefined terms is because they are the foundational concepts that get used throughout the rest of the semester. So they're kind of like the anchor points, right? or the anchor terms, I should say. Point, line, and plane get used throughout the semester. Now, from them, we're going to learn 2 new vocab words, which they are basic definitions. The first one is segment. Segment is a part of a line that consists of 2 endpoints and all the points between them. Segment is part of a line consisting of 2 endpoints and all the points between them. How do you name a segment? Use the 2 endpoints. It's very important that you use the 2 endpoints because you're saying start at this letter, end on this letter, and that's the segment. So this could be named GH or HG. Now, above it, we don't want to draw the line symbol. This time we want to draw the segment symbol, which means we're just drawing this. It's almost like it has a hat. Notice the difference between line and segment. Commit to memory. If it has the arrows, it's a line, which means keep going. If there's no arrows, it meant start on the letter, end on this letter. Okay? All right, array. Array is a part of a line that consists of just 1 endpoint and all the points on the line or of the line on one side of the endpoint continuing forever in one direction. Starts with an endpoint, then continues on. How do you name it? This is really important. Endpoint first. The endpoint has to be first, then another point on it. We're going to make note in asterisks. Order matters. Order matters. Okay, so look at this example here. Find the endpoint. That means almost like if you were to trace it with your pencil, it would naturally, hopefully, you would start with what? I. So this would be called I, and then it's going to travel through J. So above it, we're going to draw exactly that. We're going to draw a ray that starts on I, but then passes through J. And that is the only way to name that. You cannot switch those letters because then that would be a totally different picture. So this is the only one that the order matters. Okay? All right, go to the back. We already talked about this, so it should be familiar. Collinear, that is points that lie on the same line. Think of the word coexist and then the word line you can see in the vocab word itself. So if you look at this example, points J, K, and L are collinear in that picture to the right. because they're all on the same line. Coplanar is the exact same concept, but now we're talking about a plane. Okay, go back to football because that's the easiest picture to in your head. You got the field, you got the end zone, you have this gigantic laser, paper thin, that's just all up in the space between the two, right? Imagine if that gigantic laser was a bug zapper, you know what I mean? And a bug starts to fly to it. It's going to zap it right there, right? And then another bug, and then another bug. This is a terrible example, but hopefully it helps you visualize it. So the bugs that would trap into the laser, they would all be coplanar because they're all on the same plane, right? If you look at this picture here, they would be dead. But I'm saying that, imagine that maybe it's glue instead of a laser. It's a glue trap. How's that?
Fly trap.
Yeah, fly traps. Coplanar, points that lie on the same plane. It doesn't necessarily have to be points. It could be lines. But in this case, in this example, points M, O, and P are coplanar. All right, last one and then we'll practice. Intersection. If I talk about two lines intersecting, they intersect at a single what? Point. If I talk about planes intersecting, they intersect at a line. So you have to imagine they would have this in common, this line segment from here to here. That would be on the horizontal. Think of two pieces of paper. That would be on the horizontal paper and it would be on the vertical paper. That's what they have in common, so that's the intersection. All right, now I want you to go to the bottom and do 1 through 12. You're practicing 1 through 12 right now. For 1 through 4, identify the type of figure and then name it. So what vocab word is it and then name it. For 5 through 7, you're just, I got the hiccups, you're naming. Yep. Ow. What? Yes, you do. Yeah, no, you name all 3. Number 1 only has 1 answer. Number 2 has 3 answers. Number 3, just name it one way. There's a lot of ways to name number 3. Don't get into that. So you're just trying this to see if you can name them right. You're welcome to talk with a neighbor if you're a little confused. This is practicing naming. Some of these have more than 1 right answer, and I can't write all of them on the board. So you could very well have a right answer. So let's look at it. Number 1, though, has only 1 right answer. First of all, what type of figure is it? It's a ray. And then how would you name it?
AC.
Yeah, there is only 1 way to name that one, and it's AC. Number 2 is what type of shape? It's a line. There are multiple ways to name this. You just need 2 letters, right? Only name lines by 2 letters. So you could call it line DG. Or rest of the other letters that I have up there. You just pick 2 points on it, and that's how you name it, okay? Y'all with me? Number 3 is what shape? It's a plane. There's only one way to name this, and it's any 3 letter. I'm sorry. There's you name a plane by any 3 letters. There are 4 letters here, so I personally picked EHJ. Doesn't matter. You could have picked EHI. You could have picked HIJ. But it would be, you would just say plane, and then you would write the letters. There's no symbol or anything. What? Number 4 is what shape? Number 4 is a segment. There's only 2 ways to name it. What are they? KL or LK. 5, 6, and 7 are based on that picture to the right, and there is a lot going on there. So there's a lot of answers here. So look at it. It's saying, give me 2 segments from this picture. A segment has a what and what? A segment has a start and then end. So I'm going to just highlight. So you could have said AB, you could have said BD, you could have said BC, you could have said AD, you could have said DE, you could say DF, or you could reverse all of those. Can you say CE? No, there's nothing connecting C to E, so that would be a wrong answer. But that's a bunch of answers there that you could have said. Oh yeah, BF works, yeah. From here all the way to here, that is a segment. And AC works, AE works, yeah. AB works. Next is array. This means you need to start with a point and then pass through another point. The picture doesn't have to actually have a ray on it. Because if you look at this, there's actually only one true ray on this picture. What is it?
It's
There's one legit ray by the picture, and it's A starting here through E. That is the true ray in the picture. Now, if you wanted someone's attention to, start at a point and then pass through, then you could say even B. I don't know why that changed. You could say BF, but then draw the ray notation above it, and that would mean start at B and then direct your attention through F. So you can name a ray from a picture without a ray actually being there, as long as you put above it the notation for a ray, if you want someone's attention to do that. But in terms of the only actual ray in that picture, it would be AE. That is the true ray in the picture. How many true lines are in this picture? Like, not naming them, but just drawing them. There's 2 lines in this picture. You've got this one, and then you have this one, correct? Now, how you name them varies. You can name this one AB, AC, CA, CB. That's all you can do with that one, right? This one, you don't want 3 letters, it's always 2. This one you can name BD, BF, FD, FB. Lots of ways to name that one, right? All right, let's go to the bottom. Oops. What is the intersection of the 2 planes?
So this one could be just 3 then? Or would it just be KA?
There's only one answer here, and that would be this segment, K to H. If you said K to J, That would mean that you're implying that the rest of that segment is not shared between the two planes when it actually is.
Well, I was just saying, because you could do, if the unit diagram is you like KJA.
No, yeah, it's only 2 letters. Just 2. Alright, what's the intersection of line T and N? So this is T, and then this is N. Where do they intersect? Point J. Name 3 collinear points. There's a lot here. There's 2 choices. Collinear means they have to be on the same line. So you've got the points on line T, or you have the points on line N. Right? So you have KJH or you have G, J, and L. Coplanar points means they need to be on the same plane. Well, the points that you just named, when they're collinear, they're actually, because of where those lines are, they're also in those planes. So like K, J, and H are all on this plane right here. So they're coplanar. And then G, J, and L are all on this plane. Okay? Name a ray on plane HIK, which means direct your attention to this plane. Name a ray. That's there. You can't connect. Like, what's that's drawn? So you could say JH is a ray. Or, oh, yeah. And, or you could say JK. Or, and that's it, right? Or you could say KH or HK. Name a segment on plane GKL. Okay, so that means now we're over here. This one. What segment's on there? GL's a segment. GJ, JL.